guys. It's everybody. It's myself, staff, everybody. It's both sides of the ball. Game could have gone different, obviously, but ultimately, for me, overall cohesiveness wasn't there. Made far too many mistakes defensively to win that game, and we weren't, I thought, precise enough in the attack. I didn't think our ideas in the attack were great. Big part of that, we had 5 of 11 starters weren't with us, so I think we lost a little bit of that chemistry and cohesiveness. I think that's a big part of it. No doubt it'll be better this week because of that, having guys together. And that's one of the things I said to the group today is, we've always been a team that has a great chemistry, and we play as a team, and we're in sync, and on both sides of the ball we look like we have a good, like I said, cohesiveness, and we didn't have that. We looked disjointed, and I think a big part of that is, like I said, we lost ground a little bit in just growing and developing that chemistry as a team over the 2 weeks, and but that doesn't matter because we got to manage those things. But clearly we need to be better defensively. We've given up, far too many goals the last 3 games, and we got to manage, this left back position, and manage Ridgie being out, and we got to develop a unity in our back 4, and we need to protect the back 4 better than we are. And we're starting games, I think, well, but then we're giving up the first chance, and I'm hoping that starts to turn. I don't think it has, anything to do with organization. It's just a little bit, we're making that first mistake, which leads to a goal, and, then we're giving up the next goal. Last 3 games, we've been down 2-0, and it makes it really difficult to try to win a soccer game when you give up the first and the second goal. So those are all the things we got to clean up and sort out. We've been in this position before. Everybody in the league is in this position at some point in the season. We've been a team that, has worked ourselves out of these positions, and this will be no different. A couple results can change things quickly, and we have an opportunity next week, 3 games in 7 days, to change our, position at the table with a couple results, and that's the mindset right now. We're going to lock everything out. We're going to focus on the process of preparing, and we're going to work on the things we need to work on to be better in this next game. And and then we got another game, Dallas, right away, and then we got another game, San Jose. So, we really have to look at the next game, but be smart with our rotation and, our tactics in all 3 games. And, we have a tentative plan for the 3 games, but we'll focus on the next game.
In terms of protecting the back line a little bit more, have you thought about returning to the 2 defensive midfield formation?
Yeah, I think about everything all the time. I think about always, you got to look at yourself as a coach, when your team's not, in a good rhythm, I would say, I would call it, when, you could say, we're close and we're making mistakes and this and that, but you start to see a pattern where, you're giving up goals, for instance. You got to look at, okay, is it the right personnel? Is it the right system? So those are things you're always looking at. Depends a little bit on the opponent as well. So, but, clearly without, Jorge, we've missed him. Ridgie being out, 2 of the 4 guys aren't the same, and we haven't developed that chemistry. Back 4, a lot of times it's all about just that chemistry together, and that understanding is so crucial in that part of your team, and we haven't developed that. We've had to play a couple different guys because we haven't quite liked the feel, and that first game it was good. I thought overall, and the next 3 overall. But for me, I can't blame the backs completely because it's a team, and our defending starts from the front. So those guys need more help and more protection, and that's what we're gonna be working on this week, and we'll certainly be evaluating, like I always do, the personnel and the system and the tactics for the game.
Maybe there's no easy answer, but is there anything in particular you have to work on to develop that chemistry?
I think we got to look at getting the right personnel, and I think we have to look at, system, and how we can get some more protection. I mean, obviously 4-3-3 works really well. Get guys making plays in the back. It works when you get width out of both sides, and I do think we're getting punished. Like I said after the game, seems like on every chance we're getting punished. But you start to look at a 3-game pattern. You know, I think we're putting too much pressure at times on the backs, and you know, when you lose a couple players, then you got to start to look at, okay, is there a different way of going about things? And that's every week what I'm always looking at and challenging myself and the staff on. You know, is there a better way? And based on the personnel we have available. So we'll be thinking about those things this week, and not just this next game, but also Dallas and also San Jose. You know, I think you'll see some different ideas, some different things, because you know, it's the old definition of insanity, right? keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So I think we need a few tweaks. I don't think we need major tweaks, but we need a few tweaks, you know, to change the chemistry, to change somewhat of the opponent's prep on us tactically, and to change the balance, and even, you know, perhaps the leadership as well, right? I mean, these are all things that, you know, we're having to rework a little bit. You know, I mean, it's primarily the same team, but when you take out a couple pieces, things change. You know, chemistry, things change in terms of maybe system, things change, you know, leadership-wise. So, you know, we didn't expect Reggie to be out, but I think, you know, we're feeling that a little bit. And it's my job to make sure we get results even though we lose him, and you know, find that left back, that, you know, in that, like I said, that unity in the back four. And that's why, like I said, after the game, it's my responsibility. Players have to perform, certainly, and we didn't get that across the board. They know that, but it starts with me, you know. And you know, I've always been a guy that can make a few tweaks and unlock some, and I think that we need to look at those things this week.
Barmby made his debut, and obviously the team in general didn't have its best game, but what did you see out of him and where he can improve?
You know, it's a tough position. Obviously, he's 21. He's thrown in a game, 30,000 plus fans, and, you know, on turf. And, you know, it'd be, like I said, real easy for me to after the game say, you know, shots are pretty even with better possession, and, you know, turf, you know, and international window, all that stuff. But we're not going to get caught up in making those excuses, because I'm honest enough, and they are as well, to really, when you watch the tape, I mean, we were disjointed a little bit. You know, it wasn't, even though we got equal shots and more possession, the performance wasn't in line individually and collectively what we're capable of. And at the same time, you know, we're experienced as a staff, we're experienced as a team. We're not going to panic and, you know, start changing everything. But we do need to change a few things. And you know, with Barmby, you know, I think it's hard to really evaluate him completely. I don't think he had his best day, but there were a lot of guys that didn't. And for me, it's a team thing. And you know, if everybody played great and, you know, he had a shocker, then you'd say okay. But, you know, I think everybody was a little off. And there are factors. There are factors to that, and that's where, as a coach, you got to be smart in having the right kind of perspective. Same thing on the season. You know, right now, I mean, you lose 4-1, you know, but 0 points are 0 points, you know, and whether you lose 1-0 and should have won, or whether you lose 4-1, it's, you know, you didn't win. And, you know, that's the perspective we'll have. And, you know, I'm not going to start, like I said, panicking and, you know, losing sight of that perspective. But there are factors that I think next week will mean we'll play better, even if we change nothing. But I'm honest enough, and I've been around the block honest enough to know when there's a few tweaks that need to be made to bring out and unlock a little more chemistry, a little more balance, a little more leadership in the team, which those things are crucial to winning games. It's the balance of your team, attack versus defense. We're not balanced. We're giving up too many goals. Chemistry, I think there's just something off, a little bit, not much, but, and then leadership. You lose your captain. So these are things that, you know, we're reworking. You know, and ideally, you don't want to be reworking a lot of these things, but we are. It's a new year. We've lost some guys, and we've lost a few guys to injuries, and tactics of the opponent are changing. So, you know, we're trying to stay ahead of all those things, and we will stay ahead of them, and we will work it out, and we will get results, and we will be in a good spot at the end of the year.
Do you have a timetable yet on Reggie, and is Cloutey going to be available to play next week?
Cloutey, I think, will be available. Yeah, I mean, the tough thing with Cloutey, I mean, we thought about playing him last game, but he didn't have a preseason. You you know, and so we felt he needed, just like everybody else in preseason, to get some games, you know, and Barnby had a 6 months season, you know, and had games, and you know, so we felt Cloutier needed, you know, another game. So he's now gotten 3 90-minute games, I think it is, with T2, and then another kind of half game. So now we think, you know, it might be ready and available. But we got to look at the rest of the team. We got to look at the midfield. We got to keep our eye on Dallas. We got to look at the tactics of LA as well, you know, because you could say, okay, this is the right way to go to get chemistry, but does it make sense for LA? Same thing with Dallas. So we're going to have some good long conversations today, tomorrow, and the rest of the week, the staff and I, to come up with a good plan for LA, and then, you know, tentative plan for Dallas and San Jose, because 3 games in 7 days, clearly we'll need some rotation. And, you know, we need some twists. We need to throw a little bit of a wrinkle into the opponent's preps as well. Not just to do it, but because it makes sense to do it. But I think Cloutier, you know, could be available. We'll watch him this week. Ridgie, you know, I don't think he's going to, in fact, I know he won't be available for any of the 3 games next week. You know, but we're hoping maybe that following kind of week. But then you got New England on the road, long trip, and then we turn around Toronto at home, you know, 3 days later. So, you know, is he going to play both those games? So we're hoping maybe Toronto. You know, we're hoping. I think that's probably realistic. You know, that's 3 weeks away.